ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत् कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भव शङ्कर देशिकमे शरणं। समस्त ब्रह्मविद्या आचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायन याज्ञवल्क्य आद्य शंकराचार्य गुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। 10th sloka of Brahmananda Valli, Bhruguvalli, the last one, where we see the Sadachara Prashamsa with which the Upanishad concludes. That will be our today's Parayanam. Om Atha Taittiriya Upanishad Parayanam Sadachara Pradarashanam Brahmanandanubhavascha. Om न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षेत तद्व्रतं तस्माद् यया कया च विधया भगवन्नं प्राप्नुयात् आराध्यस्मा अन्नमित्याचक्षते एतद्वै मुखतोऽन्नगं राद्धं मुखतोऽस्मा अन्नगं राध्यते एतद्वै मध्यतोऽन्नगं राद्धं मध्यतोऽस्मा अन्नगं राध्यते एतद्वा अन्ततोऽन्नगं राद्धम् अन्ततोऽस्मा अन्नगं राध्यते य एवं वेद क्षेम इति वाचे योगक्षेम इति प्राणापानयोः कर्मेति हस्तयोः गतिरिति पादयोः विमुक्तिरिति पायौ इति मानुषे समाज्ञाः अथ दैवीः तृप्तिरिति वृष्टौ बलमिति विद्युते यश इति पशुषु ज्योतिरिति नक्षत्रेषु प्रजातिरमृतमानन्द इत्युपस्थे सर्वमित्याकाशे तत्प्रतिष्ठेत्युपासीत प्रतिष्ठावान् भवते तन्मह इत्युपासीत महान् भवते तन्मन इत्युपासीत मानवान् भवते तन्नम इत्युपासीत नम्यन्ते स्मै कामाः तद्ब्रह्मेत्युपासीत ब्रह्मवान् भवते तद्ब्रह्मणः परिमर इत्युपासीत पर्येणं म्रियन्ते द्विषन्तः सपत्नाः पर्ये प्रिया भ्रातृव्याः स यश्चायं पुरुषे यश्चासावादित्ये स एकः स य एवं विद अस्माल्लोकात् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य एतं विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य एतमानन्दमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य इमान् लोकान् कामान्निकामरूप्यनुसञ्चरन् एतत्सामगायन्नास्ते हा भू हा भू हा वो अहमन्नमहमन्नमहमन्नम् अहमन्नादो अहमन्नादो अहमन्नादः अहग्गश्लोककृदहग्ग श्लोककृदहग्ग श्लोककृत अहमस्मि प्रथमजारुतास्य पूर्वं देवेभ्यो अमृतस्य न भायि यो मा ददाति स इदेव मा वाह अहमन्नमन्नमदन्तमाद्मि अहं विश्वं भुवनमभ्यभवां सुवर्णज्योतेः य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषद ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ श्रीकृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय आरण्यकान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली प्रथमोऽनुवाकः शान्तिमन्त्रः ॐ यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुवे पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणदः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ षष्ठः अनुवाकः ॐ स य एषोऽन्तर्हृदय आकाशः तस्मिन्नयं पुरुषो मनोमयः अमृतो हिरण्मयः अन्तरेण तालुके य एष स्तन इवावलम्बते सेन्द्रयोनिः यत्रासौ केशान्तो विवर्तते व्यपोह्य शीर्षकपाले भूरित्यग्नौ प्रतितिष्ठति भुवरिति वायौ सुवरित्यादित्ये मह इति ब्रह्मणे आप्नोति स्वराज्यं आप्नोति मनसस्पतिं वाक्पतिश्चक्षुष्पतिः श्रोत्रपतिर्विज्ञानपतिः एतत्ततो भवते आकाशशरीरं ब्रह्म सत्यात्मप्राणारामं मन आनन्दं शान्तिसमृद्धममृतम् इति प्राचीनयोग्योपास्व. Through this Taittiriya Upanishad, while invoking the grace of all the rishis, munis and devatas, we are trying to understand, experience the Brahma Tattva through the Brahma Vidya. Much before the Brahma Vidya qualification and effort we put, we are trying our best to do all the required sadhanas to qualify for that. In the sixth Anuvaka, we were told about the Antara Hridaya Sthita Jiva Upasana. Then this Jiva Instead of identifying with one particular Panchakosha Upadhi, he is made to identify through service while living in the body with the total Upadhis. Then, ejecting out of the body, he is made to identify with the Atma of all these Upadhis or the Vyahrutis. Finally, he is made to identify with the total Aham, that is called as Mahat Brahma. When he is identified with Mahat Brahma, then all the Adhisthana Devatas of all the Vyaratis, they themselves become the Paricharakas and Bhrutyavata. They do all seva to this Mahat Brahma Sthiti. Those devata themselves, tasmai devaha balimavahanti, that portion we have seen. Not only that one, when one is identifying with the total, the Mahat Brahma, mm, balimavahanti. Then after that, exhaustively it is said, apnoti swarajyam, apnoti manasaspatim, वाक्पति चक्षुष्पति विज्ञानपति एतत् ततो भवति आकाश शरीरं ब्रह्म सत्यात्म प्राणारामं मन आनंदम शांति समृद्धम अमृतम. So many list of the benefits are hinted here, falashruti is hinted here by when we use the opportunity and possibility of rising above this individual upadhi tadatmya to become one with the Mahad Brahma. What main thing we have to understand is it is possible for us to become one with that Mahat Brahma, the Chaturtha Vyahrutis Atma. When we reach to that level, what we were seeking through identifying with individual upadhis, all of that would be achieved there in their infinite quantity. Seek that. Try to reach to that if at all you want to enjoy through the upadhis. Don't struggle it only at the individual upadhi tadatmya level, which is only a confusion, which is only an illusion, which is only a delusion. All the expectations of sukha through these little upadhis and all the efforts to get sukha through these upadhis, for that all identification with this limited upadhi is called as moha or delusion, which is giving very meager less amount of sukha and maximum of dukkha. This is what is the Vedantic way of guiding us. So, what we have to, in a broad sense, in a layman's way, understand is through the individual Vyaktigata Upadhi, definitely we are getting small little pleasures. Let us not deny it, first of all. Let us systematically, healthily understand for the satisfaction of our own ego or our intellect. Then, why it is denied? The denial is for two reasons. The sukha that is coming is little, but the effort put, the struggle put, and then the bondage experienced consequently through attaching to them is so big a one. This is the first reason. Second reason is when we can attach through the upadhi and get experiences, and that is possible to get identify the total upadhi. Why not seek that in which so many benefits are again and again told? Why in every of these anuvaka, while we are taught about how and what is upasana, the falashruti is said only to inspire us that don't live life at a very wretched lower level of one panchakosha. It is only in your own delusion you are holding on to it, hooking on to it. Just like anything in our life we get attached is only out of illusion and delusion. Neither it is real, nor it is required, nor it is giving us infinite happiness. More, it is only binding us. But still, because of the lack of thinking or viveka, we get caught up in those things or beings. In the same way, it is your non thinking. Now, the Upanishad is supplying us with the thinking. It is your non thinking that we are still holding on to the one upadhi, trying to get happiness through that. Little happiness is coming, more dukkha is coming. The more dukkha, the fear that it will have diseases, old ages, deaths, then comparing it with other deha, then competing, all of them are more problems, miseries than the little sukha which we are getting through the individual upadhi. When there is a chance for you to rise above, to identify with the total, why don't you make use of the chance and increase your level of happiness? Make your happiness more long lasting, more substantial, more commanding. There is a commanding happiness, here it is a slavery happiness. There is an independent happiness, everybody serves you. Here you have to beg others to give this and that. That is what is meant by when the Falashruti is told in every of the upasanas which are entered in every of the Anuvaka so far. This entire Upanishad, you can talk it as Upasana Upanishad. Through the Upasana, we are taken into what is called as Nididhyasana or meditation in other Upanishads or Vedanta, and we are made to identify with the Parabrahma later. So, what is so far in the six Anuvakas understood? Ki we have to rise above from the individual Upadhi Tadatmya to the total Upadhi Tadatmya, by which what we were eking out from the one individual Upadhi, same thing in infinite quantity we get through by identifying the total less effortfully and more joyfully. All of us want Swarajyam. But we can't have the Swaraj Baba with one Upadhi because it is endowed with so many problems, diseases, that. But when we become one with that Mahat Brahma, Apnoti Swarajyam. At this level, Manasaspatim nahi hota hai. At that level, Manaspati. Here, Vakpati, Shrotrapati, no. There, Vakpati, Shrotrapati, Vijnanapati. When through the process, we identify with the Mahat Brahma. Then the Etatato Bhavati, how exhaustively we saw. Akasha Shariram, not a limited, this Sharira is me. The whole Akasha becomes my Sharira. सत्य आत्मा हो जाता है, प्राण में आराम होता है. Now the Atma is a Jiva, is the Asat. It's only Chota Wala. That is the Satya Atma, the real. The totality is real, not the individual. Individual is just coming out of total only. Mana Anandam. See the Ananda of the Mana, how beautiful it is explained by the Bhashyakara. And the never ending Shanti, never ending Samruddhi, Shanti Samruddhi. And this is always with you, Amritam. When these great possibilities are there, why don't you try for that? And why don't you try for that is what is the final word used by our Rishi Mahachavasya to his disciple Prachina Yogya. Therefore, what was the last sentence in that mantra? Therefore, Prachina Yogya Upaswa. Oh, my dear Prachina Yoga, Upasana Karo. Clear? Now, what is Upasana and what is said here? Just 3-4 minutes if we study. Upasana are, let us say, these 5-6 things. First Upasana is don't listen to the worldly people who are themselves at a very gross level of samsara, worldliness, of upaditadatmya and struggling in this world. First level of upasana is don't listen to them. Second level of upasana is don't listen to your own mind's suggestions and the senses' suggestions. Because they are all delusion. Because they are all maya. You understand? They are all not real. And they are all only imaginary. And they are all because of some peculiar things called as vasanas, they work. They have nothing but binding us. Therefore, second level of upasana is Don't listen to the suggestions of your own mind, cravings of the senses. Third level of upasana is therefore listen to the Shastra and the Guru, because the Guru is the living example of liberation, and Shastra is all the sadhanas or the techniques or understandings by which we also live life of liberation. Therefore, the third upasana is listen to the Shastra from the Guru. Upasana. Then what is Guru saying? What is Shastra is saying? Is nothing but what is happening, what is. These are the only two things the Shastra and Guru is saying. What they are saying? What is happening and what is is. What is Parabrahma Tattva. That you have to identify with finally and be that. That is ultimate moksha. That will be developed in this Upanishad little later. But before that, what the Upanishad that the Guru says is what is happening. Just to see that. In that, be attentive. Don't try to use your intellect to change it or modify it. Listen carefully. Here, intellect is given to us only to know what is happening and only to know what is my role exactly, by which I am also benefited, the total also is benefited, and abide by that. Intellect is only for that. Intellect need not, should not suggest to what is happening at the individual or cosmic total level. Suggestions come because of the inner desires or vasanas. Like when I go to somebody's house, whatever they give, I must eat. Okay, na? The moment I'm asking, demanding something, which is work of intellect, it means what? I have some desire inside. That desire only makes the intellect suggest to the world. Therefore, what this particular Upanishad is teaching right from the beginning is observe what is happening in the world intellectually, outer and inner world. Then first accept it, it is happening. Then there is some substratum behind this which is making all this happen. And that substratum's inquiry will be done later on. That is to be Brahma Tattva. When you reach the Brahma Tattva, all the happenings dissolve, that alone remains. That is the different track of inquiry which we yet to take up, which is ultimate. But to become qualified for that, what we have to settle in is these two, three things. One is understand what is happening. Second, exactly accept what is happening. Third, don't try to suggest or improve it. Fourth is what? What is your role you have to do exactly to do that. This is called as Upanishad. When my role is perfectly done, because I have done my role, what is to be done, there are no regrets or guilts or lacuna in me. Because जो करना है मैंने कर दी. Totality, by doing this and by not suggesting or try to improve it, I am not disturbing the total also. That leads to a subtle poise of the antakarana, which is essential, which is the minimum required qualification for the next upasana or next level of sadhana, which the Upanishad teaches us. That is called as the pursuit of that which is beyond, called as Parabrahma. Without doing all these earlier things, the Parabrahma inquiry is not possible. Why? All the self created, whatever you call, in one language it is called as disturbed mind, another place it is called vasanas, it is said as an impure mind, it is said as worldliness, samsara, raga, dvesha. शब्द कुछ भी use करो, all these dirt, all these confusions will never allow you to pursue the exactly existing absolute truth called as Brahma Tattva. Therefore, upasanas are those by which we are preparing ourselves for the highest upasana of meditating on the absolute Brahma, which is within us, which is everywhere. That is the absolute ultimate reality. Anything other than is only the delusion, illusion, the Maya created. It has nothing but to have the bondage on us. It only is there to bind us. And all said and done, any number of upasanas done, any number of lokas reached, any about the Mahat Brahma Tadatma we get, unless we identify with Parabrahma, moksha will not be there. This also should be kept in mind right from the beginning. For example, here, what we said, don't listen to the world people, don't listen to your own Indriyas and Mana, listen to only Guru and Shastra. Then what they teach us is what exactly is there. Then you just accept it without improving and also without compromise or laziness. You fulfill your role in that, by which entire inner agitation, disturbances, obstructions, blockades at the mana intellect level go away. Then that subtlety will be helping you to contemplate on the absolute Brahman truth as Guru is going to teach. This is what continuously to be done. Upas. In that scheme of doing, be attentive. What we have to do as a Vyavaharika individual in the world, that also is already included. We are not denying it. But now what's happening? That Vyavaharika involvement alone is possessing the entire life. Is it not? None of the higher spirituality of evolution is taken into account. Like in any individual's life, lazy fellow, just by getting up and taking bath, eating food and sleeping. These three things alone can possess the entire day if he's such a lazy fellow. Another fellow can do 100 works in one day, still has got time for his own hobbies. Don't you see these two type of people? In the same way, our life is possessed only by Vyavahara. अदर देन दैट स्पिरिचुअलिटी नामक चीज ही हमारे लाइफ में नहीं आ रहा. वाई इज इट सो? बिकॉज दिस व्यवहार इज नॉट स्टॉपिंग एट द लेवल ऑफ धर्म. व्यवहार इज मल्टीप्लाइड बाय variety of imaginary sankalpas, imaginary plans, imaginary desires, so many. For example, to wear you need a clothes, but the vyavahara, is it stopping there? How many number of clothes, variety of clothes, the shopping, the buying of them, washing, ironing them, यही माया कहते हैं. You have to wear clothes. That is simple, but how many things are added? But don't do we think like that? To live, we have to have food. What's required? Dal, roti, chawal, sabji ho gayo. But do we stop there? Are you understanding how we are getting deluded in adding to Vyavahara so many things? You have to analyze it. Therefore, in these upasanas which are given, the Vyavahara is already taken care. Don't worry. ये व्यवहार को हम छोड़ रहे हैं. That was said to us in the third of the Anuvak. Our attention is more and more brought into the spirituality. Now, what is understood so far? Upasana we have to do to become qualified for the Brahma Vichara and experience the Brahma Tattva in us for moksha. The upasana is not to listen to the world. Upasana is not to listen to the suggestions of mind and senses. Upasana is listen to the Shastra and Guru. Guru and Shastra, what they say, exactly what is happening, they say. Then, in that, what is our role? That's it. And what is happening, you accept it at the individual and total level. Thus, don't add any ifs and buts. Through that, find the inner stability and peace. With that, you do what do you call the Brahma Vichar. But to come to that level, unless some phala is shown to us, we don't try to do anything little better or higher coming out of our laziness. Therefore, though the purpose of every upasana that is taught from the first Anuvaka is only to qualify us for Brahma Vidya, yet the phala Shruti is told by the Shruti Mata only to inspire us. Because at the level of our childishness or childhood or the immaturity, unless a phala is shown, we don't get tempted to do that. But none of the doings, none of these achievements, none of the phala are the ultimate goal, but they are the immediate goals. Because unless these stages we cross, we can never come to the next and higher stage of purely consciously contemplating only on Brahmavida apnoti param tadesha bhyukta satyam jnanamanantam brahma. That one. Now, another point before we come back to the sequential explanation, this Upanishad's uniqueness is what? Allowing us, inspiring us to involve in what, as an ordinary human being, we have to do inside, while allowing us to do all that, these Upanishads shifts and lifts our attention to the absolute truth. Other Upanishads, सब छोड़ कर आओ तभी ब्रह्म मिलेगा. This Upanishad tells us so many things to do. In and through that, discover Brahma. See, everything is included. पैसा कमाओ, यज्ञ करो, मेधा कमाओ, क्या क्या नहीं बता रहे, and all the results that are told in the every of the upasana we can see. Okay, now what are the upasanas we have seen? If we go back once and refer, so that once we are done all that, mind is satisfied, you can enter into the seventh anuvaka. First upasana is what? Shanno mitraha shamvarunaha. Remember, that is a upasana. In that upasana, the mental chanting is going on. Remembrance of Mitra, Varuna, Arayama, then Brahaspati, Vayu, Indraha, Vishnu. They are all remembered consciously, conspicuously. And who are all these devatas? Bhashyakara told us. Vishnu, the devata for the daytime. Mitraha, the devata of the daytime, and Prana Shakti. Then Varuna is a devata of the night time, the Apana Shakti. You understand? We have to go back to the our Bhashyam and remember it. तब से अगर करते ही जाते तो अभी तक को याद हो जाता. Other than spending 1 hour for the Upanishad class, throughout the day we are not doing it. No, इसलिए हमको याद नहीं रहता है. For you and me, I am busy in doing all classes. You are busy in listening all classes. You understand how why he said Nayamatma Paravasanena Labhya? You are caught up in so many, you have forgotten the first mantra only. So you understand? Now that is the upasana. What is the result of that? All the faculties are intact and they help us in the Brahma Vidya Grahanam, then holding on to it and later on using it for the universe. Adme after Mukti. That is the upasana taught already. Therefore, we listen to Shastra, we listen to the Guru. Shastra and Guru told us to do these prayers. So, exactly doing that and getting the result out of it is called Upasana. I am reminding you what we have done so far in 6 Anuvakas theoretically. What should have been done practically also. If it had been done, we would have by now reached to the Mahat Brahma Sthiti, which is the conclusion at the sixth level, sixth Upasana or sixth Anuvaka. So we are just reminding once again in the first Anuvaka, Shanno Mitra was an Upasana told by Guru and Shastra, in which Devatas are remembered and they are requested and prayed. Bhavatu, Bhavatu, Bhavatu. Hmm? Shanno Mitra Shamvarnaha, Shanno Bhavatu, Sham Bhavatu, Sham Bhavatu, Sham Bhavatu. May you show your benign grace on us, I the individual. Okay? Now the second one, I told you, okay, no, you read Bhashyam again, remember the whole thing, whatever. And if I restart it, again it will take next 60, 70 days. Second was the Upasana told about the Siksha Adhyaya. That also is Upasana. Directly it may not have the Brahmajnana in that. But unless through that Siksha Adhyayam, the Bhasha is learnt, the Vyakarana is learnt, and all those ingredients that are learnt, what Guru is further going to teach about the higher Upasanas and the Dhyanas, it will not be remembered by us. Therefore, learning language systematically, through which we are being given the jnanam later on, is also an essential upasana at that time. Like eating a vegetable, sabji. But sabji is not ready for you, you have to make it. Therefore, eating a sabji is upasana, but before that, making it as an upasana. But in the process of making the sabji, cutting it is also upasana. The cutting is not directly connected to eating. But unless you cut and you wash and you put, it gets boiled, eat, you won't. So too, the Sabji Ugana also is Upasana. Directly, if you see, Sabji Ugana has no connection with eating. But if you look at Paramparagathena, unless we really grow those vegetables, we can't go through those process of plucking them, washing them, cutting them, cooking them, and eating. In the same way, directly learning Bhasha and grammar seems has no connection with Brahma Tattva. Because Brahman is beyond. इसकी क्या जरूरत है? But in between about Brahma Tattva, we have to listen from the Guru, and the only way of knowing it is through communication. Communication now is only through language. If you don't understand the language, all aspects related to the language, then really actually the steps will not be taken ahead. Is it not? Then should we not recognize the importance of this upasana and accordingly do it? All of them, Varnaha, Swaraha, Matra, Balam, Sama, Santana, all of them we saw exhaustively. Therefore, learning Bhasha with Vyakaranam has become the second Upasana. We have to do it. Don't listen to the mind. Mind says, Kya hai jarurat iska nahi karna. Senses say, instead of learning those grammar, involve indulgence of enjoyment. That's what we were doing as samsari. Now we have sadhaka become. We have become sadhakas. Clear? Now we are given next one in the third Anuvaka, the Samhita Upanishadu. Using the grammar rules, be attentive, observe what is happening in the world, the phenomena. Be attentively. Again, at this level, after observing, accept the facts, and in that, what you need to do at whatever level you do. So the Pancha Adhikarana were told. Adhilokam, Adhijyotisham, Adhividyam, Adhiprajam, Adhyatmam. So in Adhiloka, Adhijyotisha, Samhita Upanishad or that Samhita Upanishad, Sandhi Upanishad, it is called also as in the first two, Adhilokam, Adhijyotisham, you only have to be an observant, accepting person. पृथ्वी पूर्व रूपम द्यौरुत्तर रूपम आकाश संधि वायु संधानम. Here only observation and acceptance of that great grand glorious phenomenon happening for sustaining the entire totality, and of course add a thing, there is somebody beyond or behind who is performing all this. That is our ultimate goal. And by doing all this, we are coming out of our own individualities, the unnecessary whims, fancy of the mind called as raga dvesha. ये सब हमने बताया. जब दिमाग जो हो रहा है, जो करना है, उस पे लगा रहता है ना, then all the unnecessary dirt will go away, and that's the only way it will go away. If you don't pursue the higher, the mind will go to something. Is it not? If you don't catch your dog properly and feed it with correct food, holding the chain, let loose it, it will go to any of the dirty place and it will eat. That's the nature of kutta. So too the nature of mind and senses are is that the instruments में faulty ये है. It is a natural inherent fault in the mind and senses that if they are not brought under the control of intellect and its strict vigilance, and if they are let loose, mind will have its own whims and fancies because sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. Then the indriyas have its own taste for the world. Why? Because रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ हि अस्य परिपन्थिनौ. It is said in all Shastras, Bhagavad Gita and all Prakarana Grantha. Indriyasya arte ragadvesho vyavastitau. That is natural if you leave it. Indriyas and mana. Therefore, the only way to pull away from this is what? Use the intellect in the higher pursuits, and senses mind should follow intellect, whatever is to be done. The senses will look at the world, what's happening. Intellect is making the senses look at. And the mind is feeling to feel that ascharyata that is happening in that phenomena. Is it not? When I am doing the Sandhi or Samhita Upanishad Upasana, where Athadilokam, Prithvi Purva Rupam, Dyaurutta Rupam, Akash Sandhi, Vayu Sandhanam, The Prithvi, Dev are seen by the eye, prompted by the intellect. The mind is feeling, oh, this is what is Sandhi, this is what is Sandhanam, this is how the entire universe is in front of. So all of them are dedicated to see the phenomena, what is happening, and absorb in the beauty and greatness of that. By this, mana and indriyas are not given a chance to go into their familiar lives of familiar ways of activities of projections and indulgences. This is called upasana. If it is not done, we are let loose into the world. It is samsara. It is a bondage. That is what everyone are doing. That is what we were also doing so far. The whole life, ek jandagi nahi, thousands of lives are, ours are being spent only for that. Okay. In the same way, adhiloka, adhijyotisha upasana is observe the phenomena. अग्निपूर्वरूपम् आदित्य उत्तररूपम् आपस्सन्धिः वैद्युतसन्धानम् इत्यधिज्योतिषम्. Isn't it? See this, that intellect through the senses, wherever they are required, is observing the phenomena, and awe and veneration, it is accepting it. Beautiful it is. And understanding the presence of something beyond or behind, because of whom all these are happening. And that who is the one because of whom all these are happening is recognized only as Brahma, as an Atma later on. Before that, to help in Pauranika Kala, that Brahma is brought to in front of us for our recognition and Upasana as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and all the Devatas. Worship all of them. The worship of all the Devatas is to accept the presence of an infinite power behind all these things that are happening. Like here the Falashrutis are given in the Vedanta Upanishad mantra, there also the Falashruti is shown. When you do the worship of Brahma or Vishnu or Maheshwara, Rama or Krishna, they are blessing you with whatever you want. Like nowadays we are studying the Upanishad, the Bhagavatam. भगवान स्टार्टिंग को ही बताया उन्होंने कि when you do the upasana like this, you get these blessings from me. Toward the end also he said. So what is in Purana is Krishna, Rama and all that is the phenomenal forces or the Mahat Brahma in the Vedic Kalam. So there the presence of these gods, presence of the old gods is correct. This upasana, this upasana also is correct. The result comes here, result comes there, that also is correct. None of these two are ultimate goal to give mukti is correct. The mukti comes only when the Aham Brahmasmi Anubhuti dawns. Never ever forget it. If that main thing is forgotten, we get lost again at some higher level. Whether you get lost at the lower level or higher level, getting lost is common. Okay, these two we have seen in the third Anuvaka, the Samhita Upasana, Sandhi Sandhanam. Then three more Upasanas were told there, if you remember. They are related to us more. There we have to be conscious about our involvement, our need. These will be again later on told. What we chanted in Sadachara Pradarsanam today, what we chanted 3 days back, or in the first Anuvaka, first Valli itself, in the 12th Anuvaka, we will see what is said in those three Vyahrutis alone is repeated in a different expanded manner. So, not three Vyahrutis, the three Samhita Upasanas. थ्री अधिक पंच अधिकरण में दो अधिकरण बाहर के बताइए अधिलोक अधिज्योतिष व्हाट आर द थ्री मोर अधिकरण रिमेंबर आई विल डिटेल्डली एक्सप्लेन यू अधिविद्यम अधिप्रजम अध्यात्म इन दैट आवर रोल्स आर देयर अधिविद्या उपासना में क्या होता है कि आचार्य पूर्व रूपम अंतेवासी उत्तर रूपम विद्या संधि प्रजननम संधान सॉरी प्रवचनगम संधान थ्रू द संधानम of pravachana, the Purva Rupa Acharya say, we the Uttar Rupa Vidyarthi tune to get the Sandhi called as Vidya. That is to be done. तो यहाँ करने की बात. So listen to Guru, listen to Shastra, what they tell are what are existing in the world, and in that what is our role. And what is existing is eternally this is existing, where Purva Rupa Acharya, Uttar Rupa Antevasi came together through the Sandhanama Pravachanama, then the Vidya Sandhi was communicated. You do this. Hmm. And what is the Vidya? When we go to the Guru, Brahma Vidya is the ultimate Vidya, then Vritti Vidya is the second Vidya, then Vyavahara Vidya is third Vidya. In that again, the Vyaktitva Vikasa Vidya, all that are required for an individual's evolution or total development that Acharya will give. A full-fledged ashrama where the Guru is highly matured, he gives to every Vidyarthi who is coming the Vidya of all types. All those details are not mentioned here. He said Vidya Sandhi Pravachanagam Sandhana. This is called as the Adi Vidya Upasana Samhita Upasana. So to Adi Praja, Mata Purarupam, Pita Uttarupam, then Praja Sandhi Prajananagam Sandhana. See? Apply the same thing there. What is your role there? If you are in the Grahastha Ashrama, follow that Adi Praja Upasana. That will be told again in 3 4 days' time when we go to the 11th or 12th Anuvak. The last one, if you remember, the Atma Upasana. The Panchama Adhikaranam, Adividyam, Adi Atmam. Adarahanuhu Purvarupam, Uttarahanuruttarupam, Vak Sandhi, Jihva Sandhanam, Ityadhyatmam. Then don't underestimate, they are all the Upanishads. When you do them, really you will become qualified for the higher ones. इसे इति मा महासगमहिताः ये एवमेता महासगमहिताः व्याख्याता वेद संधीयते प्रजया पशुभिः ब्रह्मवर्चसेन अन्नाद्येन सुवर्गेण लोकेन. Now, I did not explain because the Bhashyakara also did not take pains to explain that how all these Phalashruti are, which are given, how these Phalashrutis come when we do each of these Samhita Upanishad. You do it as homework. Then Sandhiyate, he said, no, Prajaya Pashubhihi Brahmavartasena Annadena Swargena Lokena. These are the 6 results come to us. This is what we explained. But each of the result will come because of any of these 5 upasanas that are done. So with the Adhiloka upasana क्या मिलेगा? Adhijyautisha Samhita upasana क्या मिलेगा? Adhividya like Brahmavartasena that will come with Adividya Upasana. Annadyena, Suvargena, Lokena. So, which is of these 6 results come with which of the Samhita Upasana? You do the homework. अध्यात्म से क्या मिलेगा? अधिप्रजा से अधिक क्या मिलेगा? Suvargena Lokena come because of the Adhyatma Upasana. Because Adarahanu, Uttarahanu, Vaku Sandhi, Jihva Sandhanam. If they are properly trained under the guidance of the Guru and these speaking abilities very thoroughly learned, then you will get the Punya, you will speak to the world in such a manner that everybody will love you and they will reciprocate with love and the things. So to with the same this Adhyatma Upasana of using the speech, when you do the Upasana, when you do worship the Devatas to variety of chantings, they will bless us with so many things. That is how you can relate that Adhyatma Upasana gives the result of the last 2. Suvargena Lokena. Is it? Brahma Varsasena Annadyena Suvargena Lokena. It can. So, like that, the Falashruti. This is how, if you remember, what exactly taught there and what was supposed to be done was told. I'm just reminding, repeating what we studied that time. We might have forgotten it 2 months back, but this is how the Upanishad is systematically guiding. The Upasana Upanishad it is. And every one of them we have to do and reach to those levels. That is called a serious, sincere student. Why don't you do that? Because not only we don't to listen to Guru or Shastra, but we listen to our own mind and senses as suggestion, and we only follow the useless people of the world what they tell us. इसलिए we defined in a unique manner the upasana means first not listening to the world, second is not listening to our own mind and senses suggestion. Then only we can listen to Guru and Shastra. And they're so kind and compassionate. There are no special any their personal selfishness in teaching and guiding us. They are freelancers. Their only purpose is to see that every jiva evolves. And what they teach is nothing manipulated, nothing untrue. What exactly is happening, what exactly is. There are only two things they teach. So in the happening aspect, they show to us what's happening in the whole world. Accept it. And beyond that, there is something divine is there which is doing all that. Our goal is that divinity. And while accepting it, abide by the rules and conditions. And in that, whatever is to be done by you, you do it. Isn't it? Observe the flight taking off and flying and landing. And enjoy that awe and veneration and understand the presence of the divinity who through all these aeronautical engineers is operating in the movement of the flight. And what is your role there? If you want to go from one place to the other, then book the flight ticket, check in, sit there, and after entering also observe the whole tamasha. Your job is only stick to your seat. Don't go to pilot and say, "Yaar, maine bhi drive karne de thoda." you can't. You can't tell that air hostess. मैं अनाउंस करूंगा तुमको जो करना है वही करना है। वो वही कहते हैं बेल्ट लगा के बांध के कुत्ते की तरह बैठ वैसे that is what you have to do there in your own individual safety and the safety of total. Do you understand? Everywhere is it so. In the house also, understand the beautiful concept of family. Then accept it, enjoy it. And what's your role, your father or mother or children? Then diligently know the duties and do it. There's a problem. And anything you listen to the other fellows or your own mind, you get destroyed. I'm just giving you how the Upanishadic Jnanam is wide, everywhere usable. Okay, third one is done. Now, what we saw in the fourth one is another set of upasanas. Upasana here is of the prayer to whom the Parabrahma, who in what form and name Omkar. Again, in the eighth Anuvaka, we will see it again more beautifully. So that Om Rupi Paramatma, who is the essence of all the Vedas. We have remembered that Lord has Om. First chant Om. Second, know that Om is essence of all the Vedas. Then the mind gets substantiated in accepting that the Paramatma in the form of Om, who is Chandobhyo Adi Amrita Samabhava. Once you have identified it, now address to him. Your prayer. This is an upasana there. Then Samayendro Medhaya Smrnotu Amrutasya Devadharanam Bhuyasam. These are all the upasanas to be done for a long time. Daily Shariram me Vicharsanam Jihva me Madhumattama Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishwaram Brahmana Koshosi Medhaya Vidaha Shrutam me Gopaya. All of them are the Japa mantras addressing to Bhagavan Omkara, invoking from him, right from Medha up to all these details, which are very essential for the subsequent sadhanas. Is it not? If this prajna is not there, the Brahma Vidya is not held in us, how do we contemplate? Then if the vicharshana of the Sharira is not there, Jihva Madhumatma nahi hai, Karna Achitar nahi sun raha, and ear is not listening, speech is not chanting the mantras, then the body is not healthy. How can you do sadhana? How essential these things, remember? That's why we have to have a very high level of respect and reverence and high level of maturity to understand the great sublimity of these Vedas, Vedantas, the gurus, the rishis, their teachings. Not knowing their mystical way of highest teaching, with our meager intellect, we think the Rishi Muni don't know anything, and we only are wise people with all these technologies. They're all beyond, they're very sublime, the great. Now, the importance of that medha and also this Shariraj Vicharshanam, Jivamadvattama, we have to do the upasana. And we have to see that the Lord is blessing us with them and we are really changing our life. होता है वो ये प्रार्थना रेगुलर करने से जिह्वा बिकॉज मधुमत्तमा द ears will listen not only in quantity but it will listen the qualitative way. We are learning to do the quantitative listening. Slowly, the qualities is also happening. You can see last 2 3 months, especially, every of the text we are studying is qualitatively taking us to the higher, deeper, subtler level. Because Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishram happening because we chanted Veda Devi. I too chanted 11,000 times. How many times you did, I don't know. Yes, Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupa. I am now the second one I am doing, Avahanti. Then I will do Aham Vrikshasya Reriva. See the Upasana. Then the result, and all of them are required for the higher pursuits. Like you are in astro physics, let us say, how much of the initial preparations of all sorts are required for one to become the scientist or any substantial contributor. So to reach to that level of qualification for the Brahma Vidya, all of them are essential. That is why the Rishi Muni have told, if all these upasanas don't lead to the Brahma Vidya, then these Rishi Munis are wasting their time and our time only. And if these themselves are the goals, then you can't call it as Upanishad. Then you can't take that Rishi as the guru and listen from him because he is talking only at the gross things, not Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya alone gives moksha. This Vidya will not give moksha. If this alone is the goal, which is not moksha, then why should we go for it? And this is how intellectually we have to think and understand and accept everything. What are the everything means? What Rishi Muni have said as a systematic process of development. Follow it scrupulously, diligently, sincerely. Then we saw in the same fourth Anuvaka, the second aspect of the Upasana, addressing to the Lord Om only, but here it's not Japa, but through the Ahutis, through the Yajna, Homa mantras. आवहन्ति वितन्वाना कुर्वाणा चैरमात्मनः वासागं सिममगावश्च अन्नपाने च सर्वदा ततो मे श्रियमामः लोमशां पशुभिः सह स्वाहा आमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा विमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा दमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा शमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमावाहि प्रमापद्यस्व यशोजने सा निस्वाहा श्रेयान्वस्य सोसा निस्वाहा तन्त्वावगप्रविशा निस्वाहा समावगप्रविश स्वाहा तस्मिन् सहस्रशाखे निबगाहं त्वयि मृजे स्वाहा यथा पप्रवतायन्ते यथा मासा अहर्जरम् एवं मां ब्रह्मचारिणः धातरायन्तु सर्वतः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमावाहि प्रमापद्यस्व. These are all the mantras addressed to the Omkara Bhagavan through the Ahutis of Swaha and asking from him all these things required which we have to use for doing yajna. Purpose of yajna is Upatta Duritakshaya. It will come again in the next Anuvak. See, everywhere there is systematic thought development and guidance training. It is only our discrete way of listening, discontinuity, non thinking, non contemplation, not abiding within ourselves that we are seekers of truth through Upanishad. Therefore, we have to follow all these. ये सब हमारे अंदर कमियों के कारण हमको confused और वेग दिखता है. But otherwise, the Upanishadic rishis are systematically guiding us in the path of evolution to reach the ultimate goal. And we have to follow them. That's called Upasana Upanishad. And every Upanishad is Upasana Upanishad. In those Upanishad, Upasana is direct Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, contemplation. This Upanishad is gradually evolving us right from beginning, systematically, lovingly, kindly holding our hand. I told you what is Upasana, different definitions. Same thing is said here. See, Upasanam cha, if you see the before the Eschandasam Vrishabha, when the commentary for Adilokam Adijyotam Swarne Lokena, here says Upasanam cha Yatha Shastram. That is the main thing. Yatha Shastram, and who teaches the Shastra? Guru only. Yatha Shastram Tulya Pratyaya Santatihi. Yatha Shastram Tulya Pratyaya Santati means what? what is exactly said in the Shastra, whether it is regarding the understanding and acceptance of what is happening, the phenomena, or whatever Shastra is telling us to do. वो दोनों की चीजों में तुल्य प्रत्यय संतति ही देन असंकीर्णा च अतत् प्रत्यय ही not allowing to get disturbed the smooth flow by the atat pratyaya, the opposite things which are opposite to what Shruti said, Guru said. श्रुति गुरु जो ने कहा उसी को सोचना समझना करना, और उसके खिलाफ या ऑपोजिट वाले जो थे उनको वैल्यू नहीं देना, that also part of upasana. We explained it 1 hour that day. उपासनम नाम यथा शास्त्रम, फर्स्ट पॉइंट तुल्य प्रत्यय संतति ही, सेकंड पॉइंट असंकीर्णा च अतत् प्रत्यय ही, थर्ड पॉइंट शास्त्रोक्त आलम्बन विषया च, फोर्थ पॉइंट यथा शास्त्रम तुल्य प्रत्यय संतति अतत् प्रत्यय असंकीर्ण, and all of them have shastra alambanam. Shastra alambanam is ultimate goal is to be kept in mind. So how this is upasana is told to us, and we have to do upasana actually means पूरे इन knowledge को दिल में लेकर दिल से करना, दिल तक पहुंचने के लिए. Upa means near. What is nearest to us is our own heart. Listen with heart, take it to the heart, practice heartily, and experience all of them in the heart. Is it not? You take a person to your own heart, love that person in the heart, and express that love from the heart, and enjoy that love in the heart. And when that fellow ditches and goes away, the Urvashi, frustrated again in the heart only. Like yesterday, Ramji was feeling that dukkha. लक्ष्मण को छोड़ना पड़ेगा. Then you understand it is inevitable. पहले कितने बार राम अवतार लेकर मैंने किया, there is nothing new, चलेगा. From the heart he accepted, and the heart he said, hey Lakshmana, ham tyajamitvam. Today you will see, he will say, tyajamitvam. Upasana means dil se. Enjoy doing it. Train that way to enjoy doing what is to be done. And what is to be done is not only by Shastra, not anybody. If anybody tells, he must be a Shastri and a Guru who knows everything. Remember in life, गुरु एंड शास्त्र को जरूर सुनना, गुरु एंड शास्त्र को ही जरूर सुनना, उनके अलावा किसी को नहीं सुनना, किसी को जरूर नहीं सुनना. इफ दिस वे व्हेन वी पक्का हो जाते हैं ना, डेफिनेटली आवर फॉलिंग इज पक्का स्टॉप्ड एंड आवर राइजिंग इज पक्का इनिशिएटेड. This is to be accepted. जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना. And you and I with last 2 years of classes around 2500 in any of the Shastra, did you see anything which is guiding us to fall? इतने हजार क्लास सुने, कहीं भी किसी गुरु के द्वारा किसी भी हमारे शास्त्र में हमें गिराने वाले कोई बात है क्या? सब हमको ऊपर उठाने वाले ही है कि नहीं? See, even this we don't think. That much lazy we are. We are such a lazy, stupid fellows as regard the good things are concerned at the buddhi mana level. Neither we recognize the greatness of Guru, our Shastras and all, nor we acknowledge that with love and respect and devotion. Stupid rat, what to call about, tell you. भैंस की तरह होते हैं. Buffalo is better. At least he thanks the master who gives the grass and all that. Animals better. See some channels in the YouTube channel. You will see the animal even after 5, 6, 7 years of the master left gone. When he comes, the tiger hugging. Did you see the chimpanzee climbing? The dog going and hugging. Even the cats, even the turtles, even the gilhari also. The master who fed or protected, it runs and catches the lambs, the ducks, even the hens. These pashus recognize the master who protected them. And then the cheetahs, which were protected from the falling, they also come and hug. The orangutans, even the elephants, cuddling the person who protected it from the other. We don't have even that much sense that. दिमाग सड़ा हुआ है हमको कि we don't recognize what our gurus, parents, elders are continuously protecting us, and what these phenomenal devatas called Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, they are taking care of us. उतने गिरा हुआ इंसान we are all. I am telling you in blunt words the facts. Therefore, there is no emotion of devotion or gratitude or love for them. In this way, becoming Pashu is better than being a wretched human being of non-gratefulness, non-acceptance. और क्या किया तुमने मेरे लिए? इस आदमी को ना फांसी चढ़ाना चाहिए जो कहते हैं कि क्या किया भगवान से या गुरु से, पेरेंट से कहता है। सब किया यार, एक नहीं किया, वो करना था, जन्म होते ही तेरे को मार देना चाहिए था। That fellow deserves that only. If anybody says what the God did for me, what government did for me, what the nature did for me, what other fellow beings did for me, what parents did for me, or Bewakoof, for your survival, whatever was required, they only are doing. Your food somebody made, your clothes somebody made. The whole body is sustained because of the heat, etc., given by the Agni Deva. The water because of the Varuna Deva. The ability to see by the Surya. अरे बेवकूफ, इतने लोगों के कारण तू है और बोलता ही नहीं, जानता हूँ मैं, नहीं एक्सेप्ट करता हूँ. सी द एरोगेंस बॉट आउट ऑफ द स्टूपिड इग्नोरेंस. उसको देखकर हंसने का भी मन नहीं होता. इज कार्टून भी नहीं है, कार्टून इज बेटर, इज अ वर्स्ट फेलो. दिस इज कॉल्ड उपासना. दिल से समझना, बुद्धि से समझकर, और मन से, मन बुद्धि दोनों दिल में होते हैं. मन दिल रूप, बुद्धि रूपी दिल से समझकर, मन रूपी दिल से वो रेसिप्रोकेट करना. दैट इज अनदर मीनिंग ऑफ उपासना. वी आर जस्ट डिफाइनिंग वंस मोर. शास्त्रोक्तम तुल्य प्रत्यय संतति अतत् प्रत्यय संकीर्ण शास्त्रालंबनम. These are all technical definition of upasana. And take it more seriously in our heart. Along with this, upa means near, asana and sit. Sit near a heart and use your intellect and see who are contributing in whatever your survival. Accept it, acknowledge it, reciprocate it through the mind, through devotion, gratitude, etc. That's called upasana. That is what is being trained through all that. So, Omkaropasana for the Medha as well as the Dhana. Medha for having hold on the Brahmajnana, Dhana for doing all karma kand so that we are freed from Upatta Durita. Is it not? Very clear it is. अब करते रहोगे तो होता भी रहेगा. एक जन्म है, सारे तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद के उपासनाएं करने के लिए we have to spend. Now after this is done, what was taught in the fifth Anuvaka? The inner upasana. Is it not? The Vyahruti upasana. भूर्भुवस्सुवरुति वा एतास्तिस्रो व्याहृतयः तासामुहस्मैदाञ्जदुर्धेम माहाचमस्य प्रवेदयते मह इति तद्ब्रह्म स आत्मा अङ्गान्यन्या देवताः अङ्गान्यन्या देवताः भूरिति वा अयं लोकः भुवरित्यन्तरिक्षं सुवरित्यसौ लोकः मह इत्यादित्यः आदित्येन वाव सर्वे लोका महीयन्ते भूरिति वा अग्निः भुवरिति वायुः सुवरित्यादित्यः महीति चन्द्रमाः चन्द्रमसा वाव सर्वाणि ज्योतिगंसि महीयन्ते भूरिति वा रुचः भुवरिति सामानि सुवरिति यजोगंसि महीति ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मणा वाव सर्वे वेदा महीयन्ते भूरिति वै प्राणः भुवरिति व्यानः भुवरिति सुवरित्यपानः महीत्यन्नम् अन्नेन वाव सर्वे प्राणा महीयन्ते तावा एताश्चतस्रश्चतुर्धाः चतस्रश्चतस्रो व्याहृतयः तायो वेद स वेद ब्रह्म सर्वेऽस्मै देवा बलिमावहन्ति. सी द फिफ्थ अनुवाका. डेली कभी मैं चैंट करता हूँ मैं, इसलिए थोड़ा तो याद है. Now again I can't explain every one of them. I'm only hinting at the practically to be done upasanas are taught whether we are doing and getting benefit or not. I'm just trying to justify how beautiful, how systematic, how kind, compassionate is this Upanishad or the Rishi in this Upanishad. Then after doing this, the connection between fifth and sixth is in the Hridaya Akasha, the Apurusha Upasana, which is the most important. And unless the earlier five Anuvaka said Upasanas are done, we will not be eligible for doing the upasana to catch the Purusha in the Hridaya Akash. Not eligible is not emotion. Not eligible is not a compulsion or condition. Eligibility means ऐसा आप करोगे तो तब आप अंदर जाग सकते हो. Otherwise, we are caught up in so many confusions, so many identifications, so many indulgences, so many of the imaginations. ये सबको क्लियर करता है ये जो पांच उपासना है. Then the fifth one, Saya Esho Antar Hridaya Akashaha Tasmin Nayam Purusho Manomaya Amruto Hiranyaya Antarena Daluke Ya Eshastanaiva Valambate Sendra Yonihi Yatraso Keshanto Vivartate Vyapohya Shirshakapale Purityagnau Pratitishthati Uvariti Vayo Suvarityaditye Mahaiti Brahmani Apnoti Swara आप्नोति मनसस्पतिं वाक्पतिश्चक्षुष्पतिः श्रोत्रपतिर्विज्ञानपतिः एतत्ततो भवति आकाशशरीरं ब्रह्म सत्यात्मप्राणारामं मन आनन्दं शान्तिसमृद्धममृतम् इति प्राचीनयोग्योपास्व. What we studied in 81 days, we spoke today in 1 hour. But that was worthy because we were studying the Bhashyam and trying to analyze, expand, understand. So we should be able to directly learn from the main mantras. We should be able to directly understand deeply from the Bhashyam, and we should also learn from the exhaustive explanation at every level. But follow the Upanishad. Respect or revere the teachings of the Upanishad by being practical and help oneself. नहीं तो इसी सस्ता संसार में फंसेंगे. नहीं सुनोगे तो वो सुनोगे, नहीं करोगे तो वो करोगे, नहीं पहुंचोगे वहां धसोगे. That's all. If you don't listen that, we listen that. If you don't this, we do that. If you don't evolve, we devolve. It is our choice. So up to the sixth Anuvaka, this is how the Upasanas are done. Sixth Anuvaka it was. हो गया. Now, two more Upasana Paddhatis are taught to us in the seventh and eighth Anuvaka. In the seventh Anuvaka, what we are taught is the PAANKTHA Upasana. And it is very simple, direct. What the PAANKTHA Upasana is? In this world, everything is happening in the set of 555. You just observe it and accept the glory of that, and again keep in the heart that there is somebody behind all this Pankta Paddhati with which the entire inner and outer world is surviving. And my goal is to reach to that. Through every Upasana, as I told you, observe what is happening, contribute what you are supposed to do, and accept the presence of someone beyond, which is our goal. Is it not? While learning the grammar, the need of the grammar and Parabrahma. Through everything again. Maha iti Brahma. Maha is the Chaturtha Vyahruti behind all these three. But even the Chaturtha Vyahruti has the Paramatma behind. Yad Rakna. So, observe what's happening, accept what's happening, contribute what you are supposed to do. But keep in mind that none of these things are goal. Goal is beyond. Goal is beyond. Okay? Now, what the Sambandha Bhashya for this Saptamonuvakasthita Pankta Upasana and the mantras and the actual Upasana, we will see it tomorrow only. Today only we will chant the mantra. Okay? मंत्र पाठ करेंगे. मैंने आज पूरा समराइज किया मेरे लिए. Luckily or unluckily, you also heard it. Lucky or unlucky, as you feel it. So, I to feel God has given the idea to just summarize. You know, today how we developed the thought right from the beginning. Is it not? What the Upanishad is teaching, what is the meaning of upasanas, and how these six Anuvakas taught us the upasana. ये सारा हमने आज शुरू से लेकर डिस्कस किए. Very today's lecture, I believe each of us should listen at least once more. It gives a summary of all the six Anuvakas and the essence behind them, why all of them are taught by the Shastra. Chant the mantra. the seventh Anuvaka, Kevalam Parayanam. ॐ पृथिव्यन्तरिक्षं द्यौर्दिशो वान्तरदिशाः अग्निर्वायुरादित्यश्चन्द्रमा नक्षत्राणि आप ओषधयो वनस्पतय आकाश आत्मा इत्यधिभूतम् अथाध्यात्मं प्राणो व्यानोपान उदानः समानः चक्षुश्रोत्रं मनोवाक्त्वक् चर्ममागस्सग्गस्नावास्थिमज्जा एतदधिविधाय ऋषिरवोचत पाङ्क्तं वा इदगुं सर्वं पाङ्क्ते नैव पाङ्क्तग्गः स्पृणोतीति. That's it. Again, पृथिव्यन्तरिक्षं द्यौर्दिशो वान्तरदिशाः अग्निर्वायुरादित्यश्चन्द्रमा नक्षत्राणि आप ओषधयो वनस्पतय आकाश आत्मा इत्यधिभूतम् अथाध्यात्मं प्राणो व्यानोपान उदानः समानः चक्षुश्रोत्रं मनोवाक्त्वक् चर्ममागस्सग्गस्नावास्थिमज्जा एतदधिविधाय ऋषिरवोचत् पाङ्क्तं वा इदगं सर्वं पाङ्क्ते नैव पाङ्क्तग्गः स्पृणोतीति. After this, the pranama upasana. Then the balance of sadhana and vyavahara. Thereafter, another japa mantra to qualify for Brahma Vidya. Thereafter, in the last one, the convocatory address. This is how ये चार पांच और हमारे लिए इस उपनिषद में the anuvakas are there to guide us. Okay, see you tomorrow. Om 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 Om. In today's class, what we tried to see was what we have to intellectually grasp of what we studied in last 6 Anuvakas. And all of that will help us only when we take it to the heart and involve in all of them practically. Whether it is Shannomitra, whether it is Siksham Vyakyasyamaha, whether it is Atata Samhitaya Upanishadam, or Yaschandasam, or Avahanti Vitanvana, or Bhurbo Surtiva, or Sayeshontarudaya Akash. Every one of them have to be seriously taken to the heart, into our own heart, and we have to involve in the doing of them to the exclusion of any disturbing, distracting, derailing involvements. Then only as per the Upanishad Rishi's guidance and expectation, we are doing, therefore we are growing. Else, as we proceed in our time and life and again, आगे बढ़ते रहते हैं, so the routine ordinary life again will occupy us. We continue to remain only as samsari without any additional joy of growing in spiritual sadhana, because even practice is zero done, theory also forgot. This is what was going on happening when we were doing the study of Ishakena Kata Prashna Munda Mandukya. Books are there, the knowledge is there, the Guru is there, and we are here and our samsara is here. What we have done practically, that alone gives result. Without doing practice and expecting result won't come. And without getting the result, study of all that is obviously merely waste of time. Only one better thing that has happened is at that 1 hour time of coming to class, we have not troubled the world. Dunya was liberated from us for that 1 hour of our Upanishad class. Should we allow it like that, or should we take all this knowledge to the heart and start involving in every of them, in the practice of every of them? All, whether it is morning Upanishad, whether it is Vidura Niti's Niti, whether it is the beautiful Upasana through the Vishnu Sahasranama, whether it is a contemplation through Drukdusha Viveka, whether it is following what Pururava did and came out of the problem, how did he come out by Vicharana, Pratipaksh Bhavana, whether it is following Lord's instruction of doing that satsanga and followed by practical doing of the upasanas which is teaching in 27 sarga or living life like Rama in dharma. ये सारे हमको सीख कर जीवन में उतारते रहना है, depending on where do we stay and what can be done. Like what Rama said is, live your life of dharma. No, live your life of dharma in your case is your dharma, my case is my karma. In Lord Krishna's teaching, he is going to teach us the upasana prakriyas. Kriya yogam pravaksh, kriya yoga, please tell me the Lord. Samachakshva, bhavadaradhanam eva. So that one. So too, in the case of the Satsanga Mahima, repeatedly think about it. Look out for the Santa, be in touch. And for us, you need not go, che class, attend karo. You are always in the company of our Gurudev and all the masters. Now, one last thing is what? With all these studies done, listenings done, and knowledge gathered, we should also have the subtlety of discretion as to which of the knowledge gained is practical at what stage of life and where are we now. हर एक चीज हर जगह पे वो यूज नहीं होता. जो चीज जिस समय यूज होता है उसको वहां यूज करना. शास्त्र विल टेल इन जनरल एवरीथिंग. You accept all that. But now, which stage of life, stage of evolution we are, and what sadhana to be done at that time, that discussion either you have personally or discuss with Guru for a week and get a clarity and do that. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramarishibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Shrutimatre Namaha Vedavyasa Vaishampayana Agnavalkyate Shankarad Gurubhyo Namaha Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Om Tatsat Brahma Arpanamastu. Let us study Viduraniti 10-15 minutes.